All right, let's do this. Part 2, drop that beat. All right, let's give him the last half of this, Glenn. Anna, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so ready for part 2. I've just been ruminating about it since last week.
Dreaming about it.
Dreaming about it.
That was some good takes.
More nightmares, because remember, there's scariest, spooky parts of being a full-time seller on here. So
okay.
More nightmare-like, not dreaming.
That reminds me, we just were having this conversation with some friends who were visiting from out of town about dreams, and the hilarious Mitch Hedberg bit about dreams where he says something like, dreams are so weird, like I'm just trying to get some sleep, but the next thing you know, I'm building a go-kart with my ex-landlord. It's like, yeah, what the heck, dreams? Like, why are you putting us in all these weird situations?
Do you ever get up in a bad dream and you're just mad at the person?
Yes, and it's on you for half the day. Yeah.
How could you do that to me?
It wasn't me. I love it though. As a therapist, I love dreams because some people are really hardcore and concerned about their dreams. Like, oh my gosh, I had this dream. What does it mean?
Mm-hmm.
And there's tons of schools of thought about that. It's super fascinating. But to me, the most consistent through line is well, clearly your brain is trying to work stuff out around the clock.
Yeah.
And this is one version.
Whether you're doing it or not.
Right. So this is one version of it trying to work out something. And sometimes you can tell really clearly what it's trying to work out. And sometimes it's building a go-kart with your ex-landlord and it doesn't make any sense. And you're like, okay, brain, thank you for your efforts. Please let me rest.
Nice. So you believe in that, Anna, that it's a sign something's going on?
Oh, yeah.
Or no?
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah. I think the thing that I don't really ascribe to is really specific, imagery correlates to some really specific
real life
issue, right? And there are whole entire theoretical orientations of psychology that put a lot of stock in that, and a lot of other ones don't. So it probably has a lot to do with how I was trained, but I just don't see it being that consistent from person to person, where it's oh, if there's a red sports car in your dream, it means this. Yeah. I don't think it's really like that. I think it has a lot to do with whatever it means to you, but you may or may not even know what it means to you because it's not also yet. Just soup. It's just
what
so
about
many
you, Glenn?
ingredients.
Do you believe in it?
Not really. Or maybe because I really don't remember a lot of my dreams.
Oh, you're one of those.
I'm one of those.
Your brain actually
The wife
sleeps.
hates that. Yeah, the wife hates that because she's like, "What? You don't remember? What about this or that?" Or
well, so do you just feel good or feel bad and not remember it?
Do you wake up with any impression at all? Or you're just I don't know, I slept.
Yeah, I slept.
Like that.
Time to take on the day, I guess.
Well, most people have 4 to 5 dreams a night. So
yeah,
most of us, even if we remember a dream, we're not remembering most of our dreams.
Most of it, yeah. It's just a glimpse.
That sounds like a whole new episode.
The episode of our dreams. No, but I have been really excited to bring it back to the track immediately. I have been really excited to finish out this part 2 because I think it was really fun to talk about part 1, and I know there's some good stuff for this episode.
All right, let's get into it. So number 6 is being isolated. Being a full-time eBay seller can get lonely. No coworkers to brainstorm with or talk about your wins or struggles. Your mental health can suffer a bit if you're used to, bouncing ideas off from one another, getting feedback from one another. And in a way, I mean, you kind of need that in the business part. I think you can only do so much on your own. And I've learned a lot from Ken and Jim and from Anna, all just different ideas. So I think that it's good that we get to talk on a weekly basis and figure things out. But without it, unless you're really those ones that can power through it on your own, I think that's really, really good, which I've done for a long time. But I think I wouldn't have reached a certain level without talking to other sellers that are doing different things or even learning different things. So isolation, number 6. Anna, Ken?
Isolation is an option. It's a choice. I think with the technology that we have, right? I think this is kind of weird, right? And this is the irony of, oh, I'm an online reseller. I use the internet to sell stuff. I use my phone to research. Like, oh man, you sound so advanced. And all of a sudden, like, oh, I don't have friends. I don't get to talk to people. I'm like, dude,
It's like your
you
voice
just never.
changes. It starts sounding dumber for some
Yeah,
reason.
you just narrated everything advanced in your life, and all of a sudden, now your personal social skills just deteriorated because you used the phone.
Because
And
you've
I'm
been
like,
alone too much. No.
yeah, but I was like, I've always believed that things are just tools, and what you are translate on how to use the tools. Put an example like, oh, I'm an online reseller, and then when they say that, oh, I don't have really friends, I struggle being alone. No, you're just a loner that chose to become an online reseller so you don't have to deal with people, and then blame the trade that you pick, that because the reason because you're lonely. So that's my harsh take. So there you have it.
Well, I'll soften the blow a little bit because I mostly agree with you. Like, it is a choice, but I think it's the default choice, you know? And I think most of the time
True.
people don't realize they need to choose something else until they're really feeling the negative effects of it.
Yeah,
Um
that's true.
I do feel like for myself though, this is something I went into eyes wide open when especially when I went full time in my business, because I was like really burned out from working with people 24/7, and I wanted something that was isolating a little
Hmm.
bit, like just so
Yeah.
I could recover from my burnout and like for a time. And then like, as you know, especially Ken, like when we met at in San Jose on eBay's campus years ago at this point, that was the point at which I was like, okay, I've had some time to like
I can
recover.
have people in my life back
Yeah,
again.
I can like tolerate and be interested in like these kind of like work acquaintance relationships, you
Hmm.
know, and just like, I mean, talking shop with people is fun, obviously, but more than that, to like actually have room and bandwidth in my life and my brain for like new relationships with people,
Hmm.
because I don't like to just like skate along the surface with any relationships if possible, you know. But for a time I just like had so much of like intense relationships, and like all my therapy clients and stuff, like all of that just like takes a lot of emotional energy, and other, you know, just in general a lot of energy, and brain space. So I was like, this is the good news. At first it's like, oh, you're all by yourself, that is fantastic news, that's exactly what I need. And then yeah, after a while it's like, well, that can become the bad news. It's
Hmm.
kind of a lot of things about being a business owner are like that. It's like, the good news is it's all up to you and you get to make all the decisions. The bad news is it's all up to you and you get to make all the decisions.
Yeah,
The good news is you don't have to work with anyone. The bad
it's
news
like,
is
yeah,
you don't get to work with anyone
it's
unless you hire someone or make the effort to make those inroads with people and have friends, you know, and have like colleagues. They don't come built in. So yeah, it's just one more of those double-edged swords, I think.
Mm. Kenny, anything
have
else
have
you
you
wanna?
seen those memes like, oh, I don't have a 9 to 5, I went chase my dreams, now I have a 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of true. At least in the beginning it's true.
Yeah, that's kind of how I see it. But no, no, I mean, I guess to sweeten it, that I highly encourage people to find somebody to talk to learn from, or even just follow. I think that's one of the cool things that
Oh
i've
yeah, for sure.
I've done. I feel like like people that do stuff on social
Like,
media,
not
when you
physically, don't stalk
yeah,
people,
you don't
just
just
online.
follow them. And it's just really like, there's something about following and watching things progress. That's
Mhm.
just kind of like how I like the people that do car YouTubers are mostly the people that I follow, and I've just seen them grow and grow and grow. Like from one car to now like 50 cars, different, and then now employing their friends, employing people that they knew. So that's kind of like always cool. So kind of like model yourself after that you can't. I mean, it might be lonely in the beginning, but it's really not that lonely if you just make the effort. Kind of like Anna said, like if you need space, great. If you need some interaction, there's a lot of,
Yeah.
especially now that you can restructure your schedule. When I have friends like, hey,
Yeah.
like, you wanna go out to lunch? Yeah, anytime. What's your free time?
Yeah.
Say
Right.
I don't have to say like, I'm free here, I'm free here. Then it's hard to sync. So now I just say like when,
Yeah.
and then I'll be there.
All right, number 7. This is kind of funny that it's like its own thing,
Hmm.
but it's a reseller that's driven by fear.
Mm.
Here's what this reseller looks like. That's the one that even when you're succeeding, you have this fear that you're not doing good enough. You also have this fear of people finding out where you're sourcing. And you also have a fear of missing out when you go to, let's say, thrift stores and things like that, that some other sellers are taking your items. So those are the top 3 fears that this reseller may have.
Sounds like a big old scarcity mindset. I thought you were gonna be like, here's what this reseller looks like. About 5'10", short dark hair. Like, just kidding. I don't know. I don't know who that would be.
Are they going to say like 5'6", Filipino?
Black hair.
So the it's kind of funny that this one comes right after the isolation one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
kind of self-induced isolation.
Because when me and Ken used to do the live shows, we'd hear it from so many people that were like, I'm never going to talk to another reseller in my area.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the big dog in this. It's like, are you really though? Or are you just saying that? Because
do they give themselves nicknames? I feel like that's the same type of person.
I think
it's like, I'm gonna give myself a nickname.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny though, because these also are the ones that don't really want to, like, they want to talk, but they don't want to show their face on any sort of profile photo.
Yeah.
They don't want but they have a lot to say, And
Keyboard
then
behind the
keyboard
curtain.
warriors.
Yeah, exactly. And when you see them in stores, it's like you're supposed to feel intimidated by them or
But
something.
you don't know what they
they're the
look
people that
like.
run,
I know.
So
hide.
can you?
Exactly.
Mixed signals, guys.
Exactly.
That's really funny.
They've told me there was a reseller that I met. What was he? No, it was like 3 months ago already. But he sells on eBay, sells on Amazon, and he had a friend that was like, "Hey, I think that's Hustler Hacks. It has a channel." And they saw me, I guess, at my storage unit when I was like exiting the car, and the guy was like, I don't know, he looks mean, or he looks annoyed or something like that. And then the other guy came and he's like, yeah, my friend said that he didn't know if you're like a nice guy or not because I don't know, you look intimidating in a way or something. I was like, what? Like,
it's like, I think that's a you problem.
I know,
It's a me problem.
You know what I say? It's called my hot face. It's just so hot that I'm squinting and I look mad.
Oh my gosh.
Or it's just my resting
Right.
witch face.
Your resting reseller face.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
No, well, one is Glenn's tall.
He's
Glenn's tall, so it
You
could
are
be
tall. That's
intimidating,
true.
right? He's be like, dude, like, I don't even think he's a real Mexican. He's really tall.
He's really tall.
Wow.
Yeah, right. So it's like, and no, like you
And
laugh.
you box, so maybe they were just scared of you.
Maybe
like,
they're
he's
just
gonna,
a little
he's
scared.
gonna whoop me. I can't-
Oh yeah, he saw you. Maybe. Did you have a shirt on?
I have a shirt on, but the sleeves were cut.
Oh,
that's what it
maybe
is.
that's what it was.
I thought you only wore shirts on the podcast. I thought the rest of the time you didn't.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Not
cut
in the
off
sheet.
sleeves. He saw he saw like the tattoo, the skull,
The
like
tattoo. On my neck, the tattoos on my neck. It's like, oh man, what is
around
this
the
guy
rib
up
cage,
to?
everything, like the scars, the battle scars.
Wow.
So going to stores, I think think like Nike Outlet, for example. I mean, Ken has seen so many other resellers, more than I have in mine. I kind of see the same ones. We only have one outlet anyway. There's only so much you can do. but
Yeah.
from Ken, it has multiple. He's
Yeah.
seen so many of them
Yeah.
try to intimidate him.
Uh,
He's seen so many of them that don't even approach him.
yeah.
He's seen some that actually do want to work together, like, hey,
Yeah.
buy this, buy that, work together. So, what do you think about that fear side
Yeah.
of?
I think it's I've kind of like grown to empathize and kind of just like, you know, get to feel for them, because I think it goes back to like maybe they just have terrible social skills and they don't know how to um open a conversation, right? That's what I always say. And then when I have a hint that somebody's a reseller, I just talk reselling to my wife, to JC. It's like, babe, you think this sells good on eBay? I
Oh
just
my
say something
gosh.
like that.
That's
And then they just
hilarious.
start looking at you and like, oh, like, cause like I'm just like giving the hint, right? Like if they don't know I'm the hustle bee, at least they would know I'm a reseller. You know, I said, babe, this flips good on, like check StockX. I say that out loud.
That's
And then the
hilarious.
employees like giggle because they know I don't act like that,
Yeah.
and they know there's like somebody new reselling in my area, or it's like, oh no, like they're about to like fight, and then I always
Oh
loop
no, they're about to
yeah,
fight.
and I always loop in the employees, and then me and the once me and the resellers start talking, it's like, see, we're friends, like we're not gonna
Yeah,
like,
it's
we're not gonna
fine.
spill blood in your store. We kind of like
Oh my
joke around like
gosh.
that.
At least
So
not today.
I don't know what's
yeah.
wrong with you guys. No one's ever tried to fight me.
Mm,
Oh man.
no, no. In Nike outlets is a different beast because people like camp in line, right? Next thing you know, there's one guy, right? Like a minute before they open, next thing you know, there's five of them. So next thing you know, you feel like you get skipped, right? Like, and then during COVID, they would only allow five people at a time.
Oh my
So next thing you
gosh.
know, you're like,
In the store.
yeah. So next thing you know, you're like, oh crap, like they just cut in front of me, kind of feeling. So that, it's annoying, but like I've never really confronted anybody. I sometimes I just kind of just like, kind of like instigate and then be like, and I'm looking at what they buy, and then they
Yeah.
said like, and then when I know it's trash, I say like, hey, do you want more of those? I can proxy for you. I can buy 10 more for
Oh
you. I can
my
buy five more for
gosh.
you. Kind of just like sink them deeper on a bad buy. That's the worst thing I've done. I've helped
Well,
people
that's
sink deeper.
terrible.
You want any more of these?
You want any more of these? I'll buy more for you. Like,
But that's just because you think they're being a turd, right? Like
yeah, yeah,
I feel
yeah, yeah.
like
That's
because
yeah,
I've
that's
I've sourced with you a lot, and I
yeah,
feel like you're never actually intimidated by anyone because you actually know that there is like way more than enough for everyone. Of
yeah,
course, you still want to get the best stuff you can get, just
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
anyone.
I
But
still, I
yeah, it's
still
like
like
there's
hurry
no
up,
need to be weird about it,
No, no, no,
people.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
like
yeah.
don't be a turd.
Yeah, JC does this like, babe, let me talk to him, and then JC starts talking to him, and then I just go zooming around like, get the
She just
best stuff.
distracts them.
Yeah,
That's a
That's
good game
amazing.
plan too.
yeah, that's a good game plan, right? If
Just
they want
one
to
more
talk,
reason that I need a JC.
yeah, 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 you need
True,
somebody
true.
that's just like,
So
yeah, yeah. But
we got to
but
work on those cloning plans.
no, that's my funny take. What about you, Anna?
Anna, the fear.
That is funny. Well, I feel like there's a lot of callbacks to the psychology side of my brain in this episode, but this is another one because I love this saying. I probably said it on the podcast before, but that every inferiority complex is
Mm.
just. I'm sorry, I'm saying it wrong. Every superiority complex is just an inferiority complex in
Mm.
disguise. And I would
Wow.
add to that, it's not a very good disguise. It's pretty obvious
Mm-hmm.
when somebody's being like trying to intimidate or act like, oh, I'm like, the biggest fish in the pond and blah blah, and I've got to like nobody can borrow my toys. I've got to keep
Mm-hmm.
everything for myself. Like obviously that's rooted in fear. Like what else would it be
Mm-hmm.
rooted in? You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
people who feel secure are able and willing to stay way more open and share. And I really think that that comes back to us in spades in the form of opportunity. Like
True.
if you're open and you're not busy like clutching everything, in your own grasp, like for yourself, like there's a lot more that is available to you, whether that's literally good inventory or opportunities or networking, relationships or conversations with managers or whoever, like you just never know. And when you're really busy micromanaging, like locking everything down for yourself, you're missing out on a lot.
Mm,
So it's kind of cyclical, right? Like that just
right.
kind of, when you act like that, it reinforces your belief that there really isn't enough for everyone,
Mm.
or at
Yeah.
least you maybe all you care about is that there isn't enough for you. So
Yeah. And also too, like, if you start thinking about that, you gotta start looking at your bank account, because at the end of the day, you can't really buy all.
you can't. I
Like
can't.
that's the harsh
Yeah.
reality of it. Like, if I combine my buys and your buys and the other resellers buy, you think you can buy it all today now? Or even if you can you haul them out? Can you
Yeah.
get them to your house?
It's like you're gonna drown in logistics
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you really
yeah.
try to do
That's why, like,
everything you're trying to keep everyone else from.
yeah, like, when things happen like that, I know how much capacity I have in my vehicle,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, I need 200 pairs, and that's
Yeah.
it. After 200 pairs, I'm literally asking the other guys, like, hey, what are you looking for? Maybe I've ran across it, and then here's, like, you rank it, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you're a smart buyer, get the cream of the crop and drop the ones that are not, and might as well hand it over to another reseller. That way, you'll gain favor, in return, just being nice. It helps the store liquidate more. That way they can get more newer products. That's how I
True.
always think
Yeah,
about it.
and I feel like this mentality I have seen in my, brief stint splitting my attention between retail arb and thrifting
Hmm.
stuff. I definitely see this way more in retail arb. Like, I don't know anybody who goes to the bins and is like, nobody else should be here sourcing. It's like there are just a gajillion pounds of
Oh,
new stuff at the bins
uh,
every minute.
we need
Like
to,
it's really obvious that there is
Glenn.
no shortage,
We need
right?
to bring Anna to the Florida bins.
Oh yeah, the Florida
Why the
bins.
Florida
No,
bins?
not me and Glenn
Which
been there.
bins?
We've been there.
Florida's big though. Where?
It was around like Orlando, right, Glenn?
Yeah, it's an Orlando
Okay.
area.
Yeah. When when the bin change happens,
Yeah.
oh,
It's a cattle call.
it's like a football match, that there's like a bell or something like
Yeah.
that, and then they run,
It's
and then,
bananas.
like, but you know,
Yeah, it's crazy. What about like the fear of missing out? Like you see another reseller getting stuff.
hmm,
How do you feel about that?
I'm guilty about that.
You don't like
Hmm.
it. You'll
Yeah, because it's like, uh, it's like fear of missing out on opportunity because I'm just doing something else. Like, the hardest part is, like, like, me and JC, like, goes back to the Philippines, and next thing you know, there's a massive sale at Nike, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man,
You're
right?
like,
Like,
dang it.
that one, I caught it the last time when Ross was like heating up. I
Mm.
think when Ross started getting all those, like, Burlington, getting those Jordans, and then high end running shoes at Ross, um I went a little crazy. We I was like, I told JC, like, let's drop everything, let's hop on the car and out hustle this city, and we did, and it was fun. But that's kind of like, and then now, you just, like, you just have to pick your poison, really, right? Like, because then
Yeah.
you can have inventory sitting unlisted, then it could be selling, or you could be sourcing more. So it's kind of like, pick your battles at that point.
Yeah, for sure. No, I only feel like that if I have nothing already that I need to list
Mhm.
and I'm going out sourcing and coming up empty handed and then seeing other people finding good stuff somewhere else. But like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
all that to say, like that almost never happens. Like even right now, this week, I have stuff from the last that I sourced last week that I haven't listed yet. And it's
Mhm.
like if I were to like see on social media or something, oh man, somebody just got this great haul of stuff. It's like I've got, you know, money sunk into inventory that is great inventory that I haven't
Right.
even listed yet. So what am I even thinking? Like, cause I know I'm one person, so if I'm that worried about it, I should be spending my time listing and not sourcing anyway, cause I have stuff sitting there. But I mean, there definitely have been times where where that's happened, where I literally don't have anything to list, and I've been to a few thrift stores and I'm like, man, today's just kind of a bust,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't think of a time that ever lasted more than like a day. It's like
Right.
then I go somewhere else the next day and I find great stuff. So it's always short lived if I get to the point of kind of being in the position to feel that way. But it's contingent on both of those things. Like if I literally have nothing to list right now and I'm just not finding stuff and I'm actively like looking, that's the only time I'm tempted to like feel sorry about it.
All right, all right. We got 3 left. And the next one, number 8, is a lack of structure, which Anna said that, you are your own boss. But so since you have no boss, you also have no fixed hours or really any rules to
Right.
tell you when you have to do anything. And you have to figure out when you are going to do any of this stuff. So there's a procrastination, burnout, or even poor time management
Yeah.
that can take over.
Yeah. It seems
Mhm.
like the only rule is not break the law.
you're,
That
you're
is
just
still a rule, Ken. You're right.
No, I mean that's really my parameter.
The only
Not
true rule.
not break the law. Don't speed. You know, don't make sure you stop on a red light, like those kind of things. No, that is tough.
But you
For
have rules like get everything listed in 24
Yeah,
hours.
yeah, you
Like
do. Like you have to create it,
you
right?
have
You have to
parameters. Yeah.
create it. Like you have to create it. Um, I feel like more and more, the more responsible I want to become, the more rules you need to set. Um, but also it is the rhythm of, hey, can I be the spontaneous being who I am, and or do I need to just work in label and rearrange, which is what we've done the last 6 hours today. So
It's like
I'm ruled out.
the rules can stand, but when do the rules apply? Because they
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't apply all day, every
that's
day,
true. That's true. That's true.
right? Like
Depends on what the boss says.
when you're the boss, it's way easier to make exceptions if you think
True.
they're justified. Honestly, that's what I love about it. A, I do hate people telling me what to do in general.
Of course.
B, who does, right? Who likes being told what to do? I mean, but I do appreciate structure when I like know what to do, right? There's a
Hmm.
clearly defined role. I know when a task is finished. I know what it means to do a good job at that task. Like definitely that stuff's great. But yeah, when you're your own boss, you do still have to make rules, but I guess my hope for myself as my own boss is that I won't make any rules that I think are like stupid rules, because that's the only other time that in any other setting, if I'm not the boss, I don't like having to follow rules that don't make sense to me, right? I don't
Yeah.
like to
Right.
have to
Right.
follow rules that are like stupid or counterproductive or whatever. So I just don't make rules like that. And if there's a rule like say like your rule, Ken, like getting everything listed within 24 hours, I think that's a great rule, or let's call it maybe a guideline, because
Yeah.
obviously there are times where
No,
it's
you
like,
can't. It's not
oh, well,
possible.
that would actually be really counterproductive to stop the flow of what I'm doing to
Yeah.
make sure that I follow that arbitrary rule. Like the rule is there to help you. You're not, the rule was created for you. You were not created for the rule. So
Hmm.
you have to use them wisely, I think, and not just arbitrarily stick to them because it's there. Like, I don't think that's very helpful.
Mm. Kenny,
No, I like it.
What about you,
even
Glenn? Captain
Yeah.
Consistency.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
I want to hear
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
you about this one.
well, I think the time management is key, I believe, in everything you do, though, because
Totally,
especially with the
totally,
business
totally.
side, but I mean, even the podcast, right? You got to
Yeah.
figure out when we're going to do certain episodes. When we and Ken went live for how many straight years, like
Like
you have to
10.
incorporate that time management
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
that Wednesday at a certain time, and then
Yeah.
now on whatnot, like what time we're going to be on or not, or things like that. And the time management is just key, but I feel like you do need at some point to I don't know, figure that out with family time too, and how you're going to make that work.
Hmm.
And so that's also another
Yeah,
part.
because I mean, rules should protect your personal time or your family time or like your processes, right? Like rules should be like helping you kind of facilitate the best case scenario in that
Mm.
work life rhythm, you know.
Yeah.
Um I was just thinking as you were talking though, as hustler hats, like, you know, the old well-worn analogy of like you're a business owner, so you're wearing all these different hats. And I
Mhm.
just like imagined you having a meeting with yourself and like just literally switching hats. Like, okay, Glenn, I know you want to go source this extra place today, but
Mhm.
remember, we have to
Remember.
go blah blah blah. And then you put on your other hat and you're like, oh, that's a stupid rule. Do I have to like turn in off hours or what do I do?
I
Anyway,
know. Well, one
I
of
want
the
you,
examples,
you
here's
should do a
an
skit. That would
I
be great.
should. That'd be good. Wear a different hat or just a different head in general. Could wear
Can
a
you like
mask.
grow another head out of your shoulder? Or you could do like sock puppets on
Oh
your
yeah.
hands and
Is it-
then all three of you could talk.
Very true. Isn't that like a Michael Scott when he had
Yeah.
the other head?
Oh my god.
Well, one example too is like 4th of July is already coming up, and then of
Yes, it
course
is.
one of the examples that, of course, whatnot, they're like, hey, since people are going to be with their families, right? Half off fees if you go live on 4th of July. Well, so they tempt you as the seller, like, oh
Yeah.
well, if I don't get a lot of people watching, or should I go live? And so there's your time management. Like, what,
Yeah.
you have to make that decision.
If you're like, well, I was planning on being with my family, but
Yeah.
otherwise I could take advantage of everyone trying to kind of avoid direct, constant
With
contact with
family.
their family by
Yeah,
being on their phone. I mean,
Oh man.
it
Become
is
exactly.
part of
a
the problem, you know? Don't be the
conundrum.
solution. Come on, be the problem.
Come on now.
Yeah. Be a villain sometime.
Exactly.
I wish
So
I wish emails were that straightforward.
What do you mean?
Like what we just said, like, hey, 4th of July is coming. You don't want to be with your family anyway. Might as well stream. And there are a lot of people like you as well. They don't want to talk to their family, so might as well tempt them to just be on your phone for the rest of the day.
yeah,
They're like,
Isn't that a
real
great
talk,
idea?
guys.
Huh?
Real
wonderful
talk.
idea.
That would be
Wonderful.
imagine a world where just no like scammy marketing, just be straightforward. That's how it would sound.
Yeah. Anyway, this episode is brought to you by eBay. Just gonna just
So
start hitting
just
commercials.
list and enjoy time with family.
Exactly.
That's
Just-
right. Don't even worry about going live.
Yeah. We have 2 left.
Okay, let's do this.
Are we gonna make it?
We can and we will.
Yeah, we
Okay,
can.
great.
We will. We will.
Legal. There's number 9. Legal and tax complications.
Oh,
Licenses, contracts, regulations,
yeah.
handling taxes. All these can be costly if you make
Mhm.
several mistakes or you're not focused on that side of the business. So this
Yeah.
is probably the stuff that we know that they've been changing the rules to, right? You sell over
Oh, yeah, like
600,
1099K.
yeah,
1099K.
exactly, this
10,000.
kind of
Yep.
stuff. And a lot of people don't really realize any of this too, because I don't know, like I'm having a garage sale or I'm
Yep.
just selling this to so and so, and I'm not really thinking about
Yeah.
this tax.
Selling my personal stuff that
Yeah.
I at a loss for what I
Right.
paid for it. Yeah.
These are the things you're really thinking about. You're just trying to get that
Yeah.
extra money or try to, get things out of the way and try to get some extra room. So those are the things that can definitely add up. And it's just, the more you sell, the more you expand, or maybe you get an employee, more things come into play that can make it definitely complicated if you're not
Yeah.
used to that. So, I mean, that's the worthy, scary number 9, I feel.
Yeah. It's the business within the business, right? Because it's important and it's usually not the type of information and processes that we all just happen to know about, especially if we
Mhm.
don't have a business background and
Yeah.
we like selling stuff online. And yet, there's this whole side of it that you do have to know a little bit to like manage it well, right? You don't have to be like an expert. And certainly there are other ways to like streamline and make it easy. Like I will totally shamelessly plug Seller Ledger here, especially for the tax prep side of it. But, if you're not aware that there are tools like that, or you're not aware of even what you need to be keeping track of, like it can be a mess and it can be really intimidating.
Mhm.
So I think Yeah, I mean that I think that is a big barrier to some people. I feel like that's a barrier for some people to go to seriously consider, treating their eBay store like a business. If they're
Hmm.
Yeah,
just a hobby seller, but they're like, "Oh, I'm not a real business." Like
yeah,
they don't
I
want
don't
to be on
want
the
to.
hook
Yeah,
for that.
yeah,
But
but
it's not really that hard once you understand the basics. And the
yeah, one.
scariest thing is not knowing what you don't know.
Well,
So, got to get a
once you
little informed.
understand the law of the land that any income needs to be reported, it don't
There
matter
is
if it's
that.
20,000 or $20. If you made an income on something, report it or log it. That's one. And I think everybody's like, "Oh, I want it to be 20,000 so I don't get 1099." Even though if you get 1099 or not, if you get
You're still supposed to
audited,
report
yeah,
it.
if you
Yeah.
get audited and there's like 19,999 that you accumulated
Yeah.
digitally one way or another, they're gonna ask you like, "Where did this come from?" And you'll be like, "Oh, I was selling, but I did get 1099." No,
Yeah.
that's not an exception of not paying taxes. So there's one, and then the other is, if you don't want to learn, there's a price to pay, which is
Mhm.
hire an accountant, a bookkeeper, or get a software like Seller Ledger. Those are two things. Um, lucky for me, well, not really lucky. I think I've just saw it ahead that I was really good at accounting when I was in the university. I ate accounting like a piece of cake. I loved it. Um, which I haven't had a cake in a really long time, mind you guys. I haven't had a donut. I haven't had ice cream. It's
Dang.
just this guy's just spiraling down. But no, so that's it's for me. It's binary. It's either you learn it and do it yourself, or you hire somebody, and both of those has, you're right. One is
Yeah, both
money.
cost you something.
Yeah, one is time and one is money.
Yeah.
So you pick, right? Like learning, spending 40 hours if you have zero knowledge on accounting, or paying somebody 400, 500, $800, whatever that number is, um, to do that. And here's the thing. None of the, like, when people say like, "Oh, I'm afraid I may make a mistake." None of these things are deadly, by the way,
Right.
right? And everything can be resolved. That's the
It
beauty
can.
of it. I made a mistake. Remember when I was still working, that I didn't realize, which was my fault, that bonus and cash incentives didn't get withheld in my paycheck.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Mhm.
Right? And then at the end of the, well, also I was just a go getter, so they just fed me bonus and incentives.
And you're like,
And what I didn't
"Oh, I gotta pay taxes
realize
on
that I
it."
made that year, I made more in bonuses and incentives more than my pay. And I was like, so guess what? IRS like, look, this is how much you owe. And I was like, I can't pay it. I was like, all right, we'll put you on a monthly plan.
Yep.
And took me a year and a half to pay it off. Not
Mm.
bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't deadly. I
It's
didn't
like
go to prison.
it's doable. Yeah, and
Yeah,
this actually reminds me of one of the earlier like episodes we did with Kevin from Seller Ledger
yeah,
where he talked all about like the likelihood of getting audited and what
yeah,
actually happens when you
yeah,
get audited. And it was so not scary at all if you
yeah,
actually know what, but that again, like what I was saying earlier, the unknown is the scariest part. So if
yeah,
you're like, "Oh my gosh, the IRS is going to beat down my door and drag me to jail
yeah.
because I got my taxes wrong." Like that is so not how it works,
You
but
get a
people
mail.
don't know how it
Get a
works,
letter in the
right?
mail.
Our minds fill in the blanks with usually
Yeah,
something that's more negative or more dramatic than it really is. So get informed at least about that so you know if you're wasting your time being worried about it.
I think another good part about the legal and tax complications of this one is to make sure you're actually making money.
Oh my gosh, yes. Know your numbers.
Please know
Because
your
then you're
numbers.
stressing about it for really
uh,
nothing.
Yeah, you don't want to
yeah,
go
that
off of
is true.
feelings. Well, I feel like I'm doing
I feel
bad.
like I made money on this.
Yeah, I feel like I'm doing really good. I'm just, and the next thing you know, you lost money this year,
Yeah.
right?
Our feelings are so situational.
Yeah.
Hey, hey, if you lost money, you don't have to pay taxes.
Good news for you.
Yeah, look at the bright
So
side.
there's a look at the
That's
brighter
what you call
side.
a silver lining.
Yeah,
Yeah, silver lining of losing money is you don't have to pay taxes
except for
on
Yeah.
property
income.
taxes. At least
Oh, you
here in
still have to pay
Texas.
for that.
Here in
Yeah,
Texas,
so don't buy a house.
don't
I'm
buy
just
a
joking.
house.
Yeah, yeah. Glenn has to
Yeah,
pay
because
property
even when you
taxes
pay it
now.
off, you still gotta pay your property tax.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
What a scam. I'm just
I
joking.
What
know.
I'm
a
just joking,
scam.
That's
IRS.
no, that's a different episode. I agree. We can go long on that one.
Yeah.
All right, our last
Well,
one, best for last.
Ooh.
ooh, best.
Scaling risks is number 10. And expanding, hiring, or investing more into the business can either drain you or maybe feel a little questionable, or maybe you're all confident, but you can actually lose it all if you don't know what's going on. It can turn into a financial nightmare depending on one wrong move into your eBay business. So, where are we at on scaling?
Yeah, I feel like this is the grown-up version of the fear of, taking your hobby store to a
Mm-hmm.
full-time store. This is like the next
Next,
iteration of
yeah.
that, where you're taking your probably full-time or full-time income at least store up to like
To
actually
double full
scaling
time, triple full
exponentially,
time. Yeah.
right? Which usually does necessarily mean like way more expenses, probably managing people on some
Mm-hmm.
level, a secondary location. Yeah, it gets way more complicated, right? I feel like it's I don't know, like it kind of should be scary in like a put the fear of God in your heart a little bit way, because like you were saying, one wrong move could like really cost you like
Yeah.
dearly, right?
If it's not scary, it's not big enough.
Yeah. But at the same time though, what we were just talking about with like taxes and accounting and all that, like that applies here too. Like if you don't know anything, because remember, you're probably not a business person or like a person with a business education or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Like maybe that feels more risky to you because again, like you're back in a position where you don't know what you don't know. Like what are the things that could even go wrong that you might or might not be looking out for?
Mm-hmm.
So again, though, there are so many people available with that expertise, and I do think this kind of goes full circle back to isolation, right? Like
Yeah.
imagine that you have stayed in that isolation state as a reseller, and you've done really well for yourself in your business, and you are willing and ready to scale up, but you're like totally on your own. Like
Right.
this is just another reason why isolation is a choice, and it's probably not the right choice. Because if you're trying
Mm.
to go far, like what is that saying, Ken? If you want to
Yeah,
go
to go fast, do
fast,
it
go by
alone.
yourself. Yeah,
But
if
to
you
go
want to go
far,
far,
go together.
go together. And this is
Yeah.
a place where like you really need to be going together
Yeah.
if you want a sustainable, successful scale up.
Yeah. Because it would need a lot more hands,
Yeah.
right? Even with the automation that everybody says there is available, even if it's like,
Yeah.
f- you know, FBA fulfilled, if even if you don't have it, it's still more, right?
Yeah.
Anything, unless you downsize and you just start selling cars, then all of a sudden it's just one. But again, it's
One sale.
right, like so
Yeah.
that's I've I feel like it's not it's not scary to grow in quantity and quality of the same similar items that you already are selling. I don't think it's not. I don't think it is. It's just a matter of logistical solution. Um, for example, like my initial goal is to get to 500,000 listed in
Hmm.
eBay
Where are you
of
at?
similar items. I got to 410 was the most that we've ever had.
Wow.
410. So kind of fell short, but obviously that's kind of like how you cycle through, right? Like
Right.
you have
It's
to
not
sell
it's not
down
just
again.
linear. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to cycle down and then buy more, cycle down, buy more. So it's kind of like, add 2, sell 1, add 3, sell 2, add
Yeah.
4,
Right.
something like that kind of equation. So I think it's doable for two people to manage, um, like kind of like half a million worth of inventory. Um, but anything beyond that, there's definitely gonna be need more help. And I feel like when there's more help and more people, for me, that's when it becomes risky, because
Mm-hmm.
your overhead just goes, if you're paying properly, your overhead goes
Right.
way above, right?
Yeah.
That's, and I've always said this: if you add an employee, that's not technically really the business paying it. It's actually part of your take home pay that goes to that person.
Yeah.
So my thinking is like, hey, should I stay in this size and grow a little bit at a time and get to have a nice car, or should I scale more and not have a nice car because that car payment's got to go to
Yeah. Still
somebody?
take home the
Yeah.
same. Yeah.
Right, so
Which,
that's I feel like
but
that's the dilemma.
it is a dilemma because it's another like short-ish term
Yeah,
sacrifice.
yeah,
If that hire is going to allow,
right,
exponential growth, and then eventually your take home pay is double, okay,
yeah,
great.
correct, yeah, it has to
But if
be,
you're not even on the path to that, or you
yeah,
don't know what your goal is,
yeah.
like, it's a questionable
I think
choice, right?
yeah, the first right hand person is so key. um
Yeah.
the I would say that person would be like the shipping and inventory manager. That would free you up to not be anchored down on your fulfillment area.
Yeah.
That way you can make moves, right? Like when you imagine when you wake up not having to worry about shipment,
Mm.
not having to worry about half a day they ship, half a day they list. Right? And then when you have a bulk of inventory, all you got to do is help them list,
Yeah.
right? And then the rest in between is just you trying to make moves here and there, make moves here and there, and also live life. And that's one of
Yeah.
the things that you have to realize, that you gotta
Sourcing
create
and living life.
space, right? So I think that's, it's a risk, but it's a risk not to grow either.
I want to volley this back to Glenn because he
Yeah,
seemed very serious when he was like,
yeah,
"Where are you guys at with scaling?
yeah.
Where are you at with scaling?"
I mean, I'm definitely not at the 400 whatever part. I mean, Ken, if when you're at 400 something thousand, I mean, how many sales per day, more or less, like,
30,
and then we got to
30
replenish the
packages.
30, and then we got to add.
You cannot replenish the 30. That's no problem. At that level, you cannot. That's why, like, you sell down so fast, right?
But hold on. You might not be able to replenish 30, but can you replenish the value of 30?
Ish. No, not
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 selling similar items.
right. Not on like a kind of like really trendy sale patterns, right? Like most of retail arb is mostly like Black Friday, Christmas
Mm,
holiday,
like
or like
load
their
up.
clear or their clearance within, like they do like a end of year or start of the year clearance, right? So those are two. Most retail arb has two or three, sometimes four big clearances during the year that you can buy bulk of, just like retail arb, right? Not including like the wholesale connect and stuff like that. Um, and that's when you can, right? Like imagine if you sell down, you know, on this year. Let's say I sell down, half of my inventory, which is okay, but within a 6 months term, right? Like 6 months, I've sold 200,000 already, and then now in the next 6 months, can I replenish 600,000? I mean 200,000, possibly, very. I mean we did it last 6 months.
Yeah.
So but as soon as it get bigger, right? Like the snowball effect. Now I'm questioning. I was like, man, like like the worst case, you think logistics, right? I don't think it's possible for two people, right? You were clutch when you were available to help us, and so there were three,
That's true.
and then
There were
like,
3 some of the time.
yeah, anything more than that, then I'm gonna need another person to drive a vehicle,
Yeah.
and ship at the same time while we're gone. So it is that's why we haven't gone over it yet, Glenn.
Mm.
I still have a dream of like buying a building and having my business run out of like the unglamorous part of the building and running a couple other businesses that are totally different out of the
Yeah.
building. But
Yeah.
I feel like that's really far off. But maybe not. I mean, I've felt like other big moves in my life were really far off, and then they happened within a year, and I was like, "Holy cow, how did that happen?"
Mhm.
So
It just
I'm
needs
just, I just keep dreaming about it because I
it
think it
just
will
needs to be
happen at
like,
some point.
I feel like if you consolidate a few eBay stores, that if you think about it, right, somebody can ship 100 items a day,
Yeah.
right? Just this is your job. Put it in this way: will you pay somebody $1 to ship an item? Probably yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Will somebody work for $100 a day?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
probably yes. I would work
right.
for $100 a day.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like that's what I'm saying. Like I think that's the key.
Yeah.
Mm.
That is the key, right? But like for example, in my position, if I'm selling 30 packages a day, it'd be pretty hard to find somebody to ship for $30 on. It don't
For the
matter because
day.
you're taking them. Like whatever they do in
Mhm.
the rest of the day, $30 is not as significant that somebody can
Right.
live on.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
but if you say like, I mean, now even 150, 150, doable.
Yeah.
And then you pay them $1 per listing, whatever that is, photo, everything like that. Oh, like whoever this person is banking
Yeah, for real.
is gonna bank.
And super incentivized to do a quick quality job.
Yeah,
Because
yeah. And then
the faster they get done, they're
yeah,
done.
and then every wrong move minus $5.
You get penalized.
Oh man.
Hey, we only do perfection. So it's like if you make a mistake, you gotta ship 5 for
Ken,
free.
you need to test that out on yourself and start giving yourself $1 for everything you
Oh my-
ship in a jar, and then cost yourself $5 when you mess something up. That'd be so funny.
Oh no!
That should be your
We
car
wouldn't. We don't make
fund.
mistakes. We haven't made a mistake.
No
This year.
mistakes. Perfect.
We haven't made
Zero
a mistake this year.
mistakes.
Yeah.
0 mistakes.
Oh, one, but we solved it. We actually called Anna.
Oh, Anna solved it.
We sold something.
That's right, Glenn. Thank you for not missing a moment of a beat right there.
So it was still $1, but for Anna.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
Yeah. See.
So instead of costing your, okay, fine.
Right.
I got the
Finding a
dollar.
solution is still resolving a problem. It's
It
still
is,
satisfying.
even if you create the problem.
Yeah.
It cancels itself out if
Yeah.
you find the
yeah.
solution.
So
It was an easy solution anyway.
So Glenn, what do you think?
What do I think about what though? The scaling?
Scaling.
Where are we buying a
Sorry.
warehouse?
Oh,
and
I
consolidate
know.
all our stores.
Oh,
Oh man, the warehouse thing would be amazing.
it's
Also,
gotta be
just
in El
like,
Paso. No.
man, where do you guys live too? Having like a big basement is just
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
thing of dreams.
it is.
Because we barely even have like a little attic thing that you can even put whatever
Yeah,
you want.
can't. It's
in
too
it.
hot.
Yeah,
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 It'd
that
be
too.
too hot. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll lose it. So,
Right.
man, having I hate
You
seeing
have
that
a
too.
big
Like,
garage.
yeah, you could. It's hot in there too, unless you have the.
Yeah.
Right
AC you
insulation.
Gotta be
Yeah,
climate controlled.
Yeah.
But seeing
That's
people
true.
like on House Hunters,
Yeah.
getting like huge basements, I'm like, man, that would
Oh
be
yeah.
I know.
that'd be amazing just for inventory. And
To your point though of having a bunch of eBay stores where one person ships for them. I mean, there's like remote, shipping places like that. Like there's
Yeah.
companies that do that. But I love that idea. Maybe that's an evolution of Seller Club, you guys.
Seller
A
Club
club of
Warehouse?
sellers. Yeah,
Yeah.
Seller Club Warehouse. Yeah. That'd
We
be
should
so
do that.
cool. I
But
guess let
even-
us know if you're listening to this and you want to go in on us with that.
Oh no,
There you
maybe
go.
somebody has a warehouse.
that too.
Jim.
That too.
Excuse me.
Yeah, we could get Snickers Envy in there.
Oh,
Game over.
Bless you.
definitely game over.
That's all we
Snickers
need.
Envy.
If we get all our 4 of our stores, who wants to ship for us? That's what we gotta. That's the ad.
Yeah.
That's the ad. Who wants to ship for us?
Or those
Yeah.
people that have like multiple stores only focusing on certain niches, I guess.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Then that's another idea.
Streamline.
Yeah, I think I would hate. Well, I guess the only thing I'm at for scaling part is like I would love to separate the work and business part. I mean, they kind of are with like the storage
Right.
unit that I have, but then they're kind of not because I still sell out of my house. Obviously,
Yeah.
talking
So
to
like
you
a
guys, you
full
can see
separation
these,
of home
Yeah.
and work.
Yeah.
not these
Mhm.
boxes right next to my face,
Yeah.
things like that. So
I kind of feel like that too. Like, and I
Yeah.
have a much better space now, but I've also taken in a bunch more inventory this year than I expected at
That it
once.
sits
So I'm
outside.
like,
Yeah,
I've overflowed it, which
yeah,
is annoying. It's doable, but it's annoying. And like, even if I did have another space, I would probably keep this as my office still.
Mm-hmm.
right,
And
right.
if I needed to ship something, I'd probably have a shipping station both places, just ready to
Yeah,
go. You know what I mean? Like, it would never be completely out of my house,
I think.
but it
I
would be
think
nice to have
the
my whole
last
basement
point,
back.
the bonus would
Yeah.
be the bonus would be resellers are so romantic with their inventory.
Oh yeah, that is. Oh, that we definitely know. That's
Huh?
that's going off of feelings. That's going off of like not
Yeah,
even talking numbers and stats. You're
You're
yeah,
going
worth
with
more. You're
yeah.
worth
yeah.
more.
That's like, oh, I remember this. I sourced this. I was sick, but I went out. I'm like, oh, whatever. Grow up. Everybody has a story for that. It's like, oh, I was supposed to not go, but I went this day, and it was a giant haul. Like, yeah, okay, thanks, bye.
Thanks.
Yeah, you got to remember the goal is to sell it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would say that's my scaling part is the overhead part
Yeah.
that kind of concerns me on like a bigger, comfortable like space to work out of.
Yeah.
But how much more is that going to cost you? Can you do it? Sure, I think a lot of people can, but do
Yeah.
you want to or not? I mean, Ken was in the apartment
yeah,
crammed with boxes everywhere
yeah.
for a long time. And
Yeah.
could you have done it longer? Probably.
Oh,
If you really
But
if you
it,
really
yeah.
wanted
If I
but at
to.
really
some
did, oh
point,
yeah,
Yeah.
I would have. I would
yeah,
But
have,
it's
but
just not
it's
ideal.
it was
not
just
ideal.
no.
I
It
know.
was
So
I've
just too
even thought
much.
about like, let's try it. You know, I have a friend that I could potentially rent a space from, kind of the basement of her business that's not doing anything right now. And I'm like, that might be a good like trial period to see. Like, I
We need
obviously have to pay for that, right? Like,
hmm
in the meantime, to do the experiment. But
yeah.
the thing that keeps hanging me up about it is like, but then if I decide I don't like it, I have to move everything
Yeah.
back.
No, 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 no,
I
no.
don't
You know,
like.
you
I don't
just
want to do that.
no. You know, this is what you need to do. You
Sell
just
it
need to,
all.
yeah,
Yeah.
go live on Whatnot, baby.
Ugh.
Let's go.
I don't know about
We'll
that.
have like Whatnot streams 24/7 and
But
just
see,
liquidate.
I would be like,
Uh,
okay, yeah, and then I would get to thinking about how much more I would make if I just moved it all back, and then I would move
yeah.
it all back, and then I would have done
No,
the thing
you
I was trying to
see,
avoid.
that's the number 11 problem. She gets
Yeah.
romantic. Oh, I listed it. I listed it already.
I'm
Didn't
romantic
work.
about the listed value, not
No.
about I don't
each
know.
each individual
Yeah,
item.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. We
Anyway,
should do that.
it is interesting though. I think between the three of us, or
I should
perhaps
I should get a I know somebody that can build us a barn.
A barn.
A barn.
it's
It
gonna be a
needs to be a
barn.
barn. It would be like a 60 by 40. That's kind of like I've already played with the idea.
That's
60
like
by 40.
Chase
Si-
after the right price. They built a barn.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. So it's
So
what we did.
fun.
Yeah, 2400 square foot, 10-foot ceilings. That's all we need. We could put 2 million worth listed value. And at 2 million at 10% a month, that's 200,000 a month. Um, and then at $100 ASP, that's 2,000 packages. So somebody's fine making $2,000 a month shipping. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's
pretty
not
good.
without the other bonuses that they want to do. That's just shipping.
But you know, their taxes won't be withheld on those bonuses, so they better be paying attention. No, I'm just kidding. No, I do think between the three of us, though, one of us or all three of us together are going to end up scaling at some
We
point,
need to
and
ask.
it's going to be an
Yeah,
interesting
this is
thing
when
to
we need to
document.
talk to like a financial manager that knows the ins and outs of warehousing, right? Like tax
Yeah, if
codes
they're
and all
listening to
that.
this episode, they're probably like pulling out their hair and screaming at their, speakers right now because
Like
they're
I got
like,
this.
"Oh my gosh, you guys, you're not
Yeah.
thinking about this."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if
That's
that's
what it is.
you, let us know.
Hmm.
I also think with scaling, thinking about like the long term and the long run. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if certain items how long they would last as far as like I don't know longevity of certain items. Some do
Well,
need
Yeah.
quick flips, but some I feel like you can.
Sometimes they go up in. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
most of the
hashtag
stuff.
vintage.
Yeah, most of them go up in value because they're harder to find. You know, like
yeah.
there's there's only a few stuff that I know, mostly women's apparel, just loses value over time because they
Glenn,
just make cooler stuff.
why do
Mm.
you care about that when everything you touch, with maybe the exception of a certain Starbucks cup, turns to gold? Like, why are you even worried about
Yeah, no
this?
Starbucks cup.
No Starbucks cups. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I guess I'm
Y-
thinking about that because on the whatnot side, things move so quick.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you get used to and
A certain
tempted
price point, or
from like moving so fast, and then the eBay side, you get a great sale, and you're like, hey, I made triple the amount of money. I was stayed patient. It sold
Yeah.
within, let's say, 3 weeks.
That's
So
why the you gotta get big, right? Like that's why the store needs to be so big that at a slow sell through rate compared to your lifestyle, it's a lot, right? Like
hi, my name's Anna, and I had 12,000 items in my store. Yeah, exactly. That
right,
was the
like
goal. Except, yeah, I
yeah,
didn't do it
so
exactly right, but that was why I did
yeah,
that.
you just needed the listed value and you would have been set,
Yeah,
right? Like so if you think about it, like my ultimate retirement goal is get to a mill, and as soon as the mill, I don't get 5% sell through, fine,
yeah,
that's
just
what
sell it all
50,
until it's gone.
yeah,
yeah,
right, like because and then it's not like I'm not gonna shop still, right?
right.
Like you're still gonna shop and send it, but
By the
we need to
way,
find a motivated young hustler that doesn't want to take the risk, wants to go back to a non 9 to 5 job,
you need a part-time college student, a grad
just needs to
student,
ship.
maybe.
Yeah, we need to find a broke college student
Just wants to ship.
that wants to ship. That's really good.
They're out there.
Oh,
I
they're
was
out
that
there.
college student. I worked 3 jobs all through college. Like,
Ooh.
somebody else would definitely do a much cushier one part-time job. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Not that hard to find.
Okay, okay, cool. We got a plan.
Okay.
Great.
All right. Well, for everybody that's listening, now you know our plan. If you can help, you, you know how to contact us. And eBay, you're listening to. We might be the model for the first eBay fulfillment center. So we'll see. Um, no, shout out to our sponsor, eBay, and make sure you follow them, eBay for Sellers on Instagram, and make sure you attend eBay Open. 2 ways you can attend: through virtual, which is 100% free, or in person, where you can rub shoulders and meet people and not be isolated in your own.
And come hang out
So
with us in our Seller Club podcast
we got a
booth.
Seller Club booth, baby,
Y'all,
and this booth is gonna be grand.
it is going to be
Um,
awesome.
and also you might get a chance to record with us because that's gonna be one of our cool things that we're gonna do there. And you shout out to Seller Ledger talking about not trying to get in trouble with the law. Make sure you get your bookkeeping right.
That's playing the
So
IRS and
this
everything.
is the software that you can use. That way you get to log everything and you can find everything easy. No credit card required. Try it out free for 30 days. And then any last words, Glenn?
I think we're set. We went through all 10, and thank you everybody for listening to this episode. And we will catch you on the next one. Kenny,
Peace.
see ya.
Bye.